courtesy of TNAWrestling.com. Let's take a look at the TNA Spin Cycle. We are back. It's the Spin Cycle. Everybody, TV, Jimmy Morash. So glad to have you back with us. Let's introduce our panel. First of all, he's known as HCL. I'm talking about the hardcore legend, best-selling author, Mick Foley.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey.
Thank you, JB.
He is one of the most beautiful knockouts ever. We're talking about the lovely Lacey Von Erich.
Yeah.
And my partner in crime on many of the TNAWrestling.com broadcasts. Give it up for the beautiful SoCal Val.
Yeah, Val.
And without question, one of the greatest wrestling managers, if not the greatest of all time, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. We are in the midst of the countdown to Bound for Glory and the countdown to Lockdown, your next book. But I'm telling you this, 10-10-10 is going to be here before we know it. And I got to ask you, with the tag teams heating up, as hot as the tag team action is right now in TNA Wrestling, who is your favorite tag team? Let's take her for a spin. SoCal Val.
Oh, that's a tough one. Normally I don't like boys from shady areas, but I'm going to go with Detroit's own Motor City Machine Guns. And here's why. I feel like they don't have to be anyone but themselves, and the fans love them, and I love them. They're great.
Mick Foley, who is your favorite tag team?
You know, I feel kind of like Nostradamus now that countdown to lockdown is upon us, because while I was writing this book last year, I was a very big proponent of the Motor City Machine Guns. I feel like the matches they had, thank you. Thank you. So I feel like a proud dad when I saw them tearing the house down with beer money. I thought it was state-of-the-art tag team wrestling. It was to this generation what like the Midnights and the rock and roll were for the 80s, and I see big things for them. And I can't believe that Jen Me turned on Alex Shelley like that. So I'm looking for big things from those two teams as well.
And Mick, what's very interesting about this, I remember some video about you years and years and years ago, and you're sitting there.
I remember
talking.
that video.
No, not gag order on Von Erich here.
I remember that video too.
Mick Foley in gag order.
And you were there speaking with a very young duo by the name of Jeff and Matt Hardy. Remember that?
Oh my goodness, yeah. There's a little story about that. I said I see them. The Guns as Hardys for the new generation. When my first video came out in 1998, I asked the director, hey, can I just be talking to a couple of the guys instead of talking to the camera? No, I was not naked. None of us were naked. Neither was the director was naked, that's true. And he said, sure, who do you have in mind? I said, Jeff and Matt Hardy. And his face just registered like, why? I said, well, I think they're going to be big stars pretty soon. He didn't. He kept waiting for me to pop like a punchline. I was like, no, I want to talk to those guys on the video. And so that turned out to be their big break. And I felt really good about it until I got my royalty statement and found out they'd been paid exactly the same amount of money as I had for my own video. Yeah, but up until that point, I was happy to give them that kind of break.
Lacey Von Erich, who is your favorite tag team in TNA Wrestling?
This is a loaded question, JJ.
Unload it. I don't know. Angelina Love in Velvet Sky, I guess, because I'm the new member with them.
Jimmy, one of my favorite wrestling songs of all time was penned by this man. And I'm talking about the perennial classic, Eat Your Heart Out, Rick Springfield. Right? You not know that?
Yeah, of course I do.
You do? I have the lyrics here, and I know that you are a dramatic actor.
Yes.
If you could give us your best dramatic interpretation of Eat Your Heart Out, Rick Springfield.
You don't want me to sing it. You want me to...
I would like maybe in your most dramatic tone.
I called my chick on the phone last night. Her mother said she was gone for the night. She had 2 tickets to a rock and roll show to see her working class hero. So I jumped in my car and I cruised downtown. Hear the music playing from a mile around. So I got me a ticket and I walked inside. I could see him standing there in the spotlight. Eat your heart out, Rick Springfield. 'Cause she's my girl and she always will. Be the only one for me, and ain't no rock and roll singer gonna take her away from me.
And that album did go gold, by the way, not because of that particular song.
Great tunes. And can I recall a favorite Tuesday Night Titans memory? TNT. While Jimmy was up there singing, Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart took it upon themselves to start dancing. And I think something clicked in me, and I said, you can be foolish in wrestling and still win hearts and minds. So I may spontaneously break out in a dirty dance over here.
But thank you for doing that for me, because that was awesome. It was better than me singing it, really. But we were talking about the guy who played guitar on it. Cyndi Lauper sang backup on it. And then Rick Derringer, who was in the McCoys, who we used to tour with back then, produced that whole album. But, you know, I was so lucky back then, because back in the day, we got to do the Road Warriors theme song. We got to do Snooker's theme. We got Repo Man. We got to do... all the honky tonk man's greatest hits. A honky dog baby, a hunk, a honky love. And, of course, American Made by the Huckster. The Wolfpack by Nash and Hall over at the... So we've been very lucky, me and my partner, writing the songs. Yeah, we did all of this. He's killing us.
I got to tell the flip side of the coin, though. Terry Funk, you wrote the songs for Terry Funk in his album in Japan.
Yes.
And Terry said, in retrospect, maybe a guy in his mid-40s singing, "We hate school."
I forgot about that.
We are all part of interaction and marketing and different things, being in this role, obviously. Mick now has just joined the world of Twitter. Did you guys know that? Mick Foley's on Twitter.
All right. Quick address, plug. Go ahead. At Real Mick Foley. We just hit 20,000. It's tough, grassroots, you know, when you got to just bring them up. JB was my Twitter mentor, and I try to make those 140 characters mean something.
Absolutely. Yeah. Social networking has really changed the face of marketing.
I want to Twitter Lacey.
And certainly now the internet's affected things greatly in the wrestling business.
Yeah.
Social networking, and now there's a lot of...
Bored?
chances are it's affected the business some way, shape, or form. Do you enjoy the social networking? How's the internet changed things? Let's take her for a spin.
Take her for a spin.
With one of the most popular tweeters out there. I'm talking about SoCal Val.
I do enjoy tweeting, as it were, but I think it's a great way to get your word out there, like with Mick Foley, a lot of his charity work we talk about, and people buy me presents, too, which is the most important thing, I think.
Yeah, it's always there.
Yeah.
The wish list, right? How cool is that?
It's very cool.
Wow.
No one ever buys me anything off of that.
No?
I'm not kidding.
Really? Oh, wow.
I'll post
Buy me something.
Maybe we could fix that. Maybe let's just blatantly advertise that. There's a wish list, and people will buy you stuff.
Porn.com is where most of my things are.
Mick, what do you think? How is this social networking?
11 years ago, just showing up on TV like this with a book in hand would be enough to get the word out. And nowadays, you really have to create an audience. So I've been tweeting. It's usually a good experience. I received a message from one of my favorite new singers, Liv, lead singer of a Swedish heavy metal band, Sister Sin, which you guys may want to check out. But there was also the unfortunate incident where I said I was hanging out with my two favorite redheads, SoCal Val and JB, and within 4 or 5 tweets, I may have started to sound like a horny middle-aged guy. It was either one tweet short of sounding creepy or one tweet too many. Val forgave me, but I don't know if I've forgiven myself. And I'm surely not going to have a drink and tweet you, because there's no telling what might come out of my...
perfect amount of creep to it. Just enough creep to it.
Jimmy Hart, what do you think?
Well, after today, I'm going to have to probably start doing this, because I don't have a MySpace.
We'll follow you.
I love these guys. I love them.
It certainly changed the face of things, but we love it, and that's why this program exists, because of the internet. And now we can watch things online just the same as we're watching on TV. I think that's pretty